Hello fellow gardeners. I'm here today in my basement grow room, and I was just wondering whether you'd ever thought about growing African violets, self-watering pots. But when you check into self-watering pots to purchase, they're a little bit on the pricey side, and you may not know if it's going to work for you. So I have found an inexpensive way to deal with it. For my African violets, right here, you can see I've got them growing in these little self-watering containers. And I'll show you how I make them. All right, I promised I'd show you how I make them. This is one of these little containers that you can buy at the grocery store they have nuts in them or chocolates or all sorts of things at the grocery store, and they usually end up in the recycling bin, right? We'll start saving them because they come in handy for a number of reasons. Number one, for me, is growing African violets, which I've always had a difficulty doing until I started using these little containers to make them self-watering pots. And all you really have to do is take the lid off. I cut a slot. There you can see the slot that I cut. Not very much of a slot because these limbs are kind of flimsy. You just want enough to set the pot on, for the wick to go down through, and to leave a space on either side for you to add water without having to take the plant out and take the lid off, which is a real pain. So you can do that in all one motion, really. And I just put the lid back on the top, and I'll show you how the plant fits in there. All right, here's a little alsoba. It's an African violet family member that I started from a cutting, and it's ready to go onto its own little self-watering container. So how do you get the wick in there, you might want to know. I just take the plant out, set it aside, push the wick in through the drainage hole. All you need is one. And I bring it all the way out the top of the pot, so it's hanging out a bit. Otherwise, if you don't, the plant will, when you're putting it back in, will slide the wick down and it won't be all the way up where you want it. You can adjust it in a minute. So now I just take the plant, put it back in the pot, give it a little tap, and then I pull the wick so it's no longer visible, and that's ready to go. So there you go. You put your lid on top, you put the wick through the hole, like so, and add some water to the base. And you're done. That simple. So I hope you try this and have success in growing African violets, any of the syningias, streptocarpus, lots of those plants that like a constant but even supply of water without being soggy will really benefit from growing in these self-watering pots. Thanks for watching.